We all like to think we'd know what to do. If the plane went down, or the trail disappeared, we assume a primal instinct would kick in. We imagine ourselves channeling an inner ancestral resilience, triumphing over nature through grit and intuition. But where does that intuition actually come from? For most of us, our survival handbook wasn't written by experienced outdoorsmen or evolutionary biology. It was written by screenwriters in Burbank looking for a dramatic plot device. We have absorbed a lexicon of survival knowledge through cultural osmosis myths passed down from action movies, reality TV, and unreliable hearsay. In the comfort of your living room, believing these myths is harmless. But out there, when the veneer of civilization is stripped away and your physiology is redlining, believing the wrong thing isn't just embarrassing, it is terminal. Nature is profoundly indifferent to your suffering, and it punishes ignorance with lethal efficiency. Today, we are going to dismantle the most pervasive survival myths, the ones that sound intuitive. The ones you've seen work in movies a dozen times, explain, using physiology and environmental science, precisely why following them will kill you. Welcome to class. Let's begin with perhaps the most persistent trope in cinema, the snakebite. The hero gets bitten, and immediately, a companion whips out a knife, cuts an X over the wound, and begins trying to suck the venom out. It's dramatic, it's proactive, and medically it is catastrophic. To understand why this fails, you must understand how pit viper venom works. When a snake strikes, it is effectively using hypodermic needles to inject a complex cocktail of enzymes and proteins deep into your tissue. It does not sit in a neat little pool waiting to be extracted. Almost instantly, the venom is absorbed into the lymphatic system and the bloodstream, diffusing rapidly through the surrounding tissue. Trying to suck out venom that has already spread is like trying to unmix cream from coffee using a straw. It is a physiological impossibility. Studies have repeatedly shown that even with mechanical suction devices applied within minutes, virtually zero clinically significant venom is removed. But the myth isn't just useless, it's actively harmful. By cutting the wound, you are taking an already compromised area of necrotic tissue and introducing massive trauma, severing nerves and blood vessels, and opening a superhighway for secondary bacterial infection. Furthermore, the suction itself, whether by mouth or device, damages the capillaries, concentrating the venom's destructive power in one spot and accelerating local tissue death. The only thing that stops snake venom is antivenom. Your job is to keep your heart rate low and get to a hospital, not play frontier surgeon. Shift scenario. You are stranded in an arid environment. Dehydration is setting in. You spot a large barrel cactus. Thanks to decades of cartoons and westerns, you believe you've just found nature's water cooler. You think you can slice off the top and dip in a ladle. Do this, and you will die significantly faster than if you had drunk nothing at all. A cactus is not a hollow tank filled with Poland Spring. It is a complex plant designed to hoard moisture in a sponge-like pulp. But more importantly, it is designed to defend that moisture. The liquid inside almost all North American cacti species, including the iconic saguaro and beryl, is highly alkaline. It is packed with oxalic acid and potent alkaloids, designed specifically to sicken herbivores that try to eat it. If you ingest this toxic sludge, your body will immediately recognize it as a poison. The physiological response will be severe vomiting and diarrhea. In a survival situation, these are the two fastest ways to accelerate fatal dehydration. You are expending your precious remaining water to flush out the toxins you just foolishly ingested. Furthermore, your kidneys will have to work overtime to process the acids, consuming even more hydration. There is exactly one species of barrel cactus that yields somewhat drinkable fluid, and unless you are a highly trained botanist, the odds of you identifying it while delirious from heat exhaustion are zero. Leave the cactus alone. Watch almost any reality survival show, and what is the first thing the contestants obsess over? Food? They expend massive amounts of calories building traps, hunting, and foraging, terrified of starvation. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of human physiology and the survival hierarchy. In the survival community, we rely on the rule of threes. It is a generalization, but it accurately establishes priorities. You can survive for 3 weeks without food. You can survive for 3 days without water. But in harsh conditions, you can survive only 3 hours without shelter. If you are lost in the Pacific Northwest in November, and it starts raining, and the temperature drops to 35 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius, you are in immediate, mortal danger. Hypothermia doesn't care if your belly is full. Yet, the psychological impulse to eat is strong because it feels like control. We eat every day. It's familiar. Building a thermal-regulated debris shelter is unfamiliar. When you prioritize food over shelter and water, you are burning vital energy. Reserve sweating while you hunt, shivering while you wait, all to acquire a few hundred calories of squirrel meat that won't save you from freezing to death that night. Ignore your stomach. Secure your body temperature first. There is perhaps no advice more terrifyingly oversimplified than if you see a bear. Play dead. This advice is not entirely wrong, and that is what makes it so dangerous. It is only half right. And in this context, being half right means you are fully eaten. North America is primarily home to 2 distinct bear species with vastly different psychologies: the brown bear, including the grizzly, and the black bear. Grizzly attacks are almost always defensive. You surprised a mother with cubs, or you are near a food source. The bear is threatened and wants to neutralize you. In this specific scenario, playing dead works. By lying face down, hands clasped behind your neck, you are signaling, "I am not a threat." Once the bear feels safe, it will likely leave. But if you try that with a black bear, you are making a grave error. Black bears are generally more skittish, but when they do attack, it is rarely defensive. It is predatory. A black bear that is stalking you, or that attacks offensively, is looking for food. If you lie down and play dead for a predatory black bear, you have just served yourself up as an easy meal. You have removed all resistance. If a black bear attacks, you must fight back with everything you have: rocks, sticks, fists, aiming for the eyes and snout. You must convince it that you are too much trouble to eat. Play dead is not a strategy. It is a gamble that you have correctly identified both the species and the motivation of an apex predator in split seconds. Our final myth takes us back to the cold, and an old wives' tale that has caused innumerable amputations. The idea that you should rub frostbitten skin with snow, or rub it vigorously to get the circulation back. To understand why this is horrific, you need to know what frostbite actually is. It isn't just cold skin. The water inside your cells and in the spaces between your cells has literally frozen into sharp, jagged ice crystals. Think of your tissue as being filled with microscopic shards of glass. When you vigorously rub that area, especially with something abrasive like snow, you are grinding those ice crystals into the surrounding tissue. You are physically shredding your cells from the inside out, causing massive, irreparable tissue damage to areas that might otherwise have been salvageable. Never rub. The treatment for frostbite is gradual. Gentle rewarming using body heat, like placing frozen fingers in your armpits or warm water, only when there is no risk of refreezing. The appeal of survival myths is that they offer simple solutions to complex, terrifying problems. They promise that a single trick or clever hack can cheat death. But the wilderness is a high-consequence environment that demands humility, not hacks. The difference between life and death is rarely a dramatic moment of heroism. It is usually a series of small, boring decisions made correctly. It's choosing to carry rain gear instead of a bigger knife. It's choosing to stop and build a shelter while you still have daylight, rather than pushing on in panic. The most valuable survival tool you can carry isn't in your backpack. It's in your cranium, but only if it's filled with the right information. Class dismissed.